Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2013 America Honors Recovery, and congratulations to this year's honorees. My name is Donna Dimitrovic. I'm board chair of Faces and Voices of Recovery, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I'd like to recognize the other members of Faces and Voices Board of Directors who are with us tonight. They give tirelessly of their time and talent to guide our organization. Thank you so much for your service to the recovery community. Will the board members please rise? Thank you so much. Many of the America Honors Recovery Host Committee members are with us as well. I'd like to thank them for their help and guidance in organizing this wonderful evening, along with Carol McDade for co-chairing this effort. Thank you very much. Would those on the host committee please rise? Thank you all very much for all that you do. And I'd like to recognize a very special guest from the state of Rhode Island. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, a great friend of recovery, is here with us tonight. I'd also like to thank the Faces and Voices staff and the many volunteers who have made tonight possible. I'd especially like to thank Jerry for all of the work that he's done in organizing this event. Faces and Voices staff, can you please rise for us? Where's Jerry? Okay, our community grows stronger in numbers and influence every year, strengthening our message of hope and the reality that over 23 million Americans are in recovery. And yes, life keeps getting better in recovery. For me, my family, my community, and our country. We're grateful to the Caron Foundation, our Caron Treatment Centers, and our many sponsors for joining with Faces and Voices to honor recovery tonight. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our host, Lori Dew. If our host this evening looks familiar, it's probably because you've seen her on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News Channel for many years. Lori Dew is the only TV news anchor to host programs on all three cable networks. In the last 20-plus years, Lori has reported on every major news story and has spent extensive periods of time working in the Middle East. You can now catch her on Varia TV, where she hosts a weekly lifestyle show called Over the Hump. She is also the host of the investigative series For the Record on the Blaze TV. Lori is the founder of her own media company in New York City. A person in long-term recovery from alcoholism, Lori is on the board of the Caron Foundation's New York Advisory Board and is a board member of the National Youth Recovery Foundation. Lori travels coast to coast as a recovery advocate, giving speeches, emceeing events, and moderating panel discussions. Please help me in welcoming Lori Dew.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much, Donna. Hi, everybody. How's everyone tonight? Is it hot enough for you? It's so nice in here, right? It'd be nice if we'd had the party in here and then people wouldn't be sweating. I look pretty. Thank you. You know what? That's all that matters. So thank you, Kristen. By the way, buy her book, Guts. Okay. I just got off a train from New York where I had a really busy day. This morning, I had the opportunity to speak at the Betty Ford Women's Symposium, which was just a great experience. And then I went straight to the set of my show on Varia TV, where they gave me an hour of national news time to talk about addiction and recovery. Which, I mean, what a gift, right? To be able to talk about that for an hour on national TV. And then I got on a train and I came here, so this is like my dream day of recovery. So it's just great to be here. I am a person in long-term recovery. The last time I had a drink of alcohol or a line of cocaine was March 14th, 2007. Thank you. It was a long road to get there, I can assure you. I'm really excited and humbled to be here tonight and to see all of you. You know, this is such a close-knit community, and all of us have gotten to know each other, and I've gotten to know you all so well in the last couple of years since I went public with my alcoholism. I'm really proud to be one of the many, many voices of recovery in this country. And we know that it takes people being public to educate this country about this disease of addiction. Most people don't even know it's a disease. Most people don't know that alcoholism kills twice as many people as breast cancer does every year. Most people don't know that it is one of the biggest healthcare issues in this country. So those of us who are out and proud about it, we've got a lot of work to do. We're doing great so far, but we've got a lot more work to do. The more that our friends and colleagues and neighbors and policymakers hear us talking about how recovery works, and there's so many people in this audience tonight who are great examples of recovery working. The more they hear us talk about it, the more they will learn about us and learn about our journey and understand that we do get well and we thrive. Yes. Our voices need to be heard. Your enthusiasm is wonderful. It is, and I hope it's catching. Our voices need to be heard both as individual voices and as an organized constituency. That organization is so important. As we celebrate the realities of long-term recovery here tonight, we know that too many people still need help, and too many people are afraid to raise their hand and say, I can't do this anymore. I need help. Too many people are dying of this preventable disease. It's not curable, but the great news is it's treatable, and there's so many of us in this room who are living proof of that. I think it's our duty and our responsibility to help the millions of people who are in need in this country by fighting for access to care and by fighting to end the discriminatory policies that are keeping people from jobs, from housing, and opportunities to sustain their recovery. Every American who wants to recover has the right to do so. That is our expectation. And those of us who are in long-term recovery are living proof that it works, as I said a moment ago. We can recover, and we do recover, and sometimes if we're lucky and blessed, we help other people. Tonight we're going to take time out from our very busy lives to celebrate those people who are making a difference. I gave a speech, as I said, at 9 a.m. this morning, and then came down here. I'm forgetting which direction I went. And it was a priority for me to get here. I was honored that Pat Taylor asked me to come. I knew it was a priority to get on the train and get down here because we've got to put this issue first, no matter who we are, no matter where we live. And tonight we honor those who inspire us and remember all of the pioneering men and women on whose shoulders we are all standing. The successes that we've seen in our movement are just the tip of the iceberg as we focus on the ongoing solution of recovery. So much has been done. So much more needs to be done. Today we have got to work to make the hope of parity and the Affordable Care Act a reality by advocating for recovery as they're being implemented. Recovery community organizers are at the heart and soul of the recovery movement. So this year, America Honors Recovery celebrates this strong collective voice and singles out 5 distinguished individuals. Tonight, we honor both the organized voice and the individual voice because they symbolize the growing power of the movement and the unity that recovery in this country thrives on. I'm really happy also to hear about the growing numbers of young people in recovery. Yes, please give that a hand. We have some young people in recovery here tonight who are helping to celebrate, and people like Devin Fox who are working hard to push this movement forward. And this is something that our Voices of Recovery honoree, the beautiful, very talented and funny Kristen Johnston has spoken about so eloquently. She's a little in your face about it. But that's how she is. And that's good because that's what the movement needs. Because young people are our future, as corny as that is, and it's the old Whitney Houston song, Children Are Our Future, but they are. So They're great at communicating wants and needs as well as the benefits of getting into their recovery early, which we know can make all the difference in the world. Tonight also, this is super cool. We are streaming this event from the Faces and Voices website, and we're going to be tweeting throughout the event, so get everything ready. We've got a powerful message to share tonight and every day. We're honoring all kinds of fabulous people, and we've got to get this out. We've got to get the message out. So please help us be a face and a voice of recovery. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Tara Handren. In addition to being the Regional Vice President of the Greater Washington, D.C. region for Care and Treatment Centers, she is the writer, the producer, and the sole performer of a one-woman, critically praised play about women, alcoholism, rehabilitation, and recovery called Drunk with Hope in Chicago. Great name, isn't it? Please help me welcome Tara Handren. Thank you so much.
Hi. It's very tall. First, I just want to say what an honor it is for Karen to have been asked to partner up with Faces and Voices. And Pat, thank you so much. You and Jerry were wonderful to work with, and we just are so excited to have more of a presence in DC and just continue to help people more. And I also really want to thank our alumni, our friends, our board members, our parents. I mean, everybody was really excited about this, so thank you all for coming. And now, it's my honor to introduce Kristen Johnston. She is perhaps best known for her role on Third Rock from the Sun, for which she won 2 Emmy Awards. Woo! But she's far more than that. Her celebrated career as an actress spans television, film, and theater. And she's now back on television on TV Land's new hit series, The X's. And it rocks. The reason she's here tonight, however, is because she boldly shared the shocking truth of her addiction and recovery with her stunning New York Times best-selling memoir, Guts. Thank you, Lori. The endless and there's more to the title. The endless follies and tiny triumphs of a giant disaster. It's really good. She has also worked tirelessly as an advocate on behalf of addicts and people across the country. Through the nonprofit organization she founded, SLAM, she is spearheading the effort to create New York City's first and desperately needed recovery-based high school. Kristen, thank you. It is a great honor to give you the Voice of Recovery Award tonight.
Yeah, please do. My skirt was too tight to hop up, sorry. Look, I wanted to dress for you guys. Honestly, screw the Oscars. Screw the Emmys. When I found out you guys wanted to give me this, it was one of the highlights of my life. It's really true. Although, I left, one time I got something that was really meaningful and then I left it there, so don't take it personally. Anyway, you know, Lori said, I thought that was a great speech, and Lori said something that stuck out to me. She said everyone has the right to recovery if they want it, and that's not true. We have kids who need recovery. Sorry, I get a little verklempt. Who are really struggling. And for 6 years now, I have been the only voice in New York City trying to get a sober high school built. And sober high schools save lives. And I don't even like teenagers. I don't know why I'm the only one. I don't give a crap, but somebody has to. And no one cares. No one. And I cannot, like tonight, I had lunch today. Sorry, I have to look up your name. Don't think I'm rude. What was that? He was so awesome. Wait. Oh, shoot. Oh, Arthur Evans. Sorry, I'm new to the scene. Here's a man who's the commissioner in I'm going to say everything wrong, by the way, but I'm an actress and I'm blonde, so it's, oh God, his mother's going to kill me. Okay. No. I just want to say that, and there's Tom Coderre. See, I knew his name. But there are people that are in the government, in the government who care enough to show up here. And those people are who I honor. Sorry. If I could have one wish for the rest of my life, it would be that we started taking care of our young addicts. Sorry. I do this every time I talk about slam. I was with Mark Mishik last week. I was like, and I wasn't even trying to get money or anything. I mean, I literally. And I've been the only voice in what feels like a wind tunnel. It really does. I mean, the wonderful board of SLAM. If anybody would like any information or has any ideas for what we can do, I mean, obviously with the education mayor, things haven't been going so great. Oh, he's leaving. Who cares? I mean, he closed 119 schools, but we're not going to get into that. 25 in the last year. I don't think it should be a private school. I want it to be public. And it should be. Now, there are also brilliant private schools as well that are out there, including the Rhode Island School. What's the school name? What? A little long, but... No, and I've heard the most incredible things about them. There's North Shore Recovery High School, and they are public. There are sort of sister school with the brilliant Michelle Lipinski, principal and great friend of mine. And anyway, I'm almost done with this part of it. I just want to say, if you're interested, slamnyc.org. We just need help, and no one cares. And so I want to ask you guys, please help me. And now, to stop crying, look, my book's right here. Oh, I'll sign it afterwards if any of you want it. I will. Somebody was like, get her off. I'm leaving, don't worry. Sorry. As somebody who doesn't know this group very well, who knows most of you from The Anonymous People, really, which is my favorite movie ever, it's just such an incredible honor. The intelligence in this room, the hope I feel with meeting Devin and my dear friend Joe Schrank, who I would not be alive if you hadn't helped me. Great friend of mine. He's the one that Meadows was like, yeah, go talk to him when you get out. It was a good move. Lori, sweet Lori, do. And the rest of you. I don't want to bore you, but I just want to say thank you so much for honoring me and including me. It is a great honor, and I take it very seriously. Thank you. My friend Townley, who came with me. No, this is a friend she's not one of us. She came to just support a friend. Thanks.
Kristen, thank you so much for your honesty. You are one of the most honest people I know, and sometimes that's gotten you in a little bit of trouble, just a teeny, tiny bit of trouble. But you know what? Honesty is what this movement needs. So thank you, as your friend and as the host tonight. Thank you so much for your courage and for writing this beautiful book. And I'm not just plugging this because she's my friend. If you haven't read this, it's a terrific read. It is painful and funny. And, I don't have to hold it the whole time. All right. Read the book. She's going to be signing copies downstairs. It's a terrific read. Okay, you don't want me to promote it anymore. That's fine. Okay. Okay. That was a little dorky, wasn't it? All right. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Michael Botticelli. Michael is the Deputy Director of the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, or ONDCP. Michael is a person in long-term recovery, celebrating more than 24 years of sobriety. In 2008, he was the first recipient of the annual Ramstead Kennedy National Award for Outstanding Leadership in Promoting Addiction Recovery. Please give a warm welcome to Michael. Good to see you.
I'm going to wait till Kristen says that I look pretty too to start. Thank you. So, and if you're doing the math, I got sober when I was 10, right? So, I am not one of those young people in recovery, so I have to put the glasses on. I really want to thank Lori for her work and her outstanding contributions, and Pat and Donna and the staff and board of Faces and Voices of Recovery, and congratulations, Kristen, and to all the awardees. And I bring you greetings from Director Kurlikowski. He's actually in Vienna now, promoting recovery abroad. I know he would be here tonight. And I also want to acknowledge David Mineta and Peter Gomon from our office, who've been tireless champions of this work. And it really gives me, yes. So it's really an honor for me to be here, not only to represent this office, and I still find it hard to believe that from where I started that I ended up in the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. As I say, going through the vetting process with all the background necessary for recovery was quite a feat, and I have many friends here who helped me get here, but also as a person in long-term recovery, which means the world to me. Celebrating recovery and those who champion it raise the awareness of addiction and recovery, laying the groundwork for changes to laws, policies, and practices that can prevent people in recovery from fully rejoining and contributing to their communities. And that is just what we're doing tonight and what so many of you do on a daily basis. You know, I have to say, and I'm going a little off script today, I think many of us were incredibly moved by the Supreme Court decisions today. It's wild, huh? Yep. No, it's great. Now my husband and I won't have to pay separate benefits. But for those of us who've been involved in that movement for a long time, it was a simple act of us coming out to our neighbors, to our friends, to our families that changed public opinion and drove the decisions that ultimately ended up today. And I think that is the power of recovery, and that's the power about being true to yourself and to your story. And I think that is really kind of what we're all about. So those of you who are here, now I'll go back on script. They worry about that now that I'm at a federal office, that they have to be careful what I say. Those of you who are here this evening are in the forefront of making all of this work happen. Your tireless advocacy and call to speak out has truly begun changing the conversation both nationally and internationally. And we owe a special thanks to Pat and Faces of Voices in Recovery, not simply for what they're doing tonight and co-chairing this with the Caron Centers, but for your strong national movement, for being the torchbearer of recovery movement nationally. And we have many thanks for you. I also want to acknowledge the work of many of our colleagues and allies, both within government and across the nation. And Senator Whitehouse, really want to acknowledge your strong leadership in terms of the work that you have been doing. And Mary Bono, who was a longtime supporter of the work of our office. Director Kurlikowski sends you his greetings and really thanks you for the work and the work that you continue to do. Kristen, who just accepted the award, tireless advocate in New York City for recovery high schools. Where's Marianne Frangoulis? How many high schools do we have in Massachusetts now? We have 4 recovery high schools in Massachusetts now. It can happen, but it happens with advocates as our partners in making this. So Mary Ann was a tireless champion of making sure that we had a recovery high school in Massachusetts, so it can be done. The Obama administration understands addiction is a disease and promotes a public health approach to reducing drug use and its consequences. The inclusion of recovery as a specific focus in the National Drug Control Strategy and the establishment of recovery work in our office reflects the administration's commitment to supporting recovery as a cornerstone of our national effort to address this issue. I am proud that this administration understands the importance of celebrating and supporting recovery. In his 2012 State of the Union address, the President challenged us with 3 questions. How do we make sure America is a magnet for good jobs? How do we equip people with the skills they need to get these jobs? And how do we make sure hard work actually pays off with a decent living? We don't accomplish this by preventing second chances and barring people in recovery from contributing fully to their communities and their families. Thank you. Your tireless work, advocacy, commitment to services are a critical part of the answer to the President's challenge. You are helping to identify and eliminate and reduce barriers to recovery by creating laws, rules, policies, and practices. By carrying the message that systems and services need to be accessible, adequately resourced, and designed to support and sustain recovery in the community. And as we implement the Affordable Care Act, never letting us forget the central role peers play on the national, state, local, and tribal levels in the design, delivery, and evaluation of services, and the processes whereby systems evolve to better meet the needs of communities they serve. Your work, much of it spearheaded by Congressman Ramstad and Congressman Kennedy, have been critical to the passage of parity legislation and now is central to ensuring that this law is applied and enforced in a meaningful way. So I'm here to thank you for the work that you do on a daily basis, that you have a partner with the Office of National Drug Control Policy, and that you are all champions, and we have much to do and much to thank you for. So thank you for letting me be here tonight.
Thank you. Well, I hope by now you've had time to look at your programs and see the remarkable stories of the people whose names we are giving out awards. They were recovery pioneers. The first award tonight is the Vernon Johnson Award. Johnson challenged the conviction that people with alcohol and drug use disorders had to hit bottom before they could begin to recover. As a result, he advocated for early intervention, a legacy that may be one of his most valued legacies. And with us tonight to present the awards is Mary Bono. You'll remember Mary as a former congresswoman from California who served 14 years in the House, where she led efforts to address prescription drug problems and served in the leadership of the Addiction Treatment and Recovery Caucus. Today, she is a senior vice president at Faegre BD Consulting here in Washington, D.C. We warmly welcome her to give out this year's Vernon Johnson Awards. Mary.
Well, good evening. I sat there the entire time freaking out about how to climb on the stage from that little corner. We're all doing that. But I am really honored to be here for a lot of reasons. I just want to start by thanking Pat for the time you've given me. For those of you who don't know me, I lost my re-election this past November. It was kind of bittersweet. Actually, it was just purely bitter in the beginning. Then it turned bittersweet, and now it's actually really sweet. And I like the sweet part the best. But it was interesting. After I lost, it took me a few days of sort of mourning to recognize what I would miss the most about being in the House of Representatives was the work in this field that we're all here to talk about tonight. And shortly after my loss, a great thing happened to me, and I want to thank ONDCP and our great friend, Director Kurlikowski. He picked up the phone, he called me, and he said, Mary, we need you to stay involved. You're going to be busy with this stuff. And miraculously, the next day, CADCA called me and offered me a spot on the board. And so I joined CADCA, and I'm working with a bunch of these great folks like the Stacey Mathewson Foundation and Karen, hopefully, and Faces and Voices. And I just want to thank you for keeping me in the loop. I am not in recovery. I just tend to love people who are actively using or drinking. I tend to fall in love with them. I'm newly single, so I thought this might be a great place to come. But honestly, I do just love folks. That, you know, I'm a big old codependent, and I grew up in a household where addiction and alcoholism really destroyed our family. And I used to liken my childhood to the Munsters, for those of us who are old enough to remember the Munsters. Outwardly, in the street, we're all perfect. I was Marilyn, of course, whatever the blonde, beautiful one was in my mind. But underneath the staircase at home, there was a dragon just waiting to come out. And because of growing up like that, I have such a great appreciation for what you're trying to do here, Pat, to remove the stigma, to get people out of the shadows to talking about this disease. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm especially honored to help present these awards. The first one goes to Tom Coderre. Now, Tom and I go way back to about 7 minutes ago. So nice to meet you. But he is Chief of Staff to the Rhode Island Senate President, and he serves as the board chair of the Rhode Island Communities for Addiction Recovery Efforts. I don't know if that's RICARES or RICARES, but it's something like that, where he is a dynamic leader and a strong public advocate for recovery, peer recovery support services, and ending discriminatory policies. So, Tom, please come up and share some of your wisdom, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. That was a wonderful introduction. And although she only met me 7 minutes ago, I've been following her for a long time and the work that she's been doing in Congress to help people like me. And so thank you so much for everything you've done, Mary, on behalf of the recovery community in your term. I guess I'm going to try to keep this very short, but I have to thank some people. First and foremost, my family, who have always supported me. My mom is here tonight, and I want to give a great big shout out to my mom, who I love very much. I don't know where she... my mom cried herself to sleep many nights in my active addiction, and to see me in recovery today and to be able to come to a ceremony like this and actually be proud of me is a great, great accomplishment. So I really thank her for all the support, all the love, not only her, but my dad, my brother, my sister, my entire family and extended family who did that for me. My friends who have always been there for me, no matter what, many of them who are in this room tonight, so many people from Rhode Island came down tonight, and I really, really, it means a lot to me. And my friends who are here in Washington or the Washington area who have come tonight, thank you so, so much. I want to thank the Senate President because the legislative session is still going on. And not only did she give me a second chance and let me come back to work in the Senate after 8 years of serving there, but she said, you know, this is a really important thing for you, Tom. I know how important it is. I want you to go to Washington tonight and accept the award. To the Providence Center, who thought about nominating me for this award, and RICARES, who actually filled out the nomination form, Ian Knowles, the director who's here, and Dale Klatzker, thank you so, so much for the tremendous honor. And, you know, my dear friend Sheldon Whitehouse, who's my United States Senator in Rhode Island, and Jack Reed, who was here before him. Sheldon and Jack have always supported me in everything that I've done, and not just because I'm asking, but because they know this is the right thing to do. They know that when we help people find recovery, we help communities, we help the entire nation heal. And Sheldon is becoming a tremendous leader on these issues, just like Patrick Kennedy was before him. And it makes me proud to be from Rhode Island, to know that our Rhode Island congressional delegation cares about this issue so much. And the small part that I've played in it, you know, I really want to thank you, Sheldon, for everything you've done for me and for the recovery community in America. And of course, I want to thank my fellow honorees, many who I've known and worked with in the fields. We've toiled together and done this work for so many years, and it's really, it's just humbling to be with this fine group of people being honored tonight. I can't tell you. I have to give credit for this award to a few people, too. Faces and Voices of Recovery, and Pat Taylor in particular, who mentored me and showed me what this new recovery advocacy movement was all about and encouraged me to get involved and taught me everything I know today and gave me the opportunity to travel around this great country of ours, 245 days a year for 2 years, meeting so many different people, coming to so many different recovery community organizations, seeing the work that they did, helping to organize and mobilize, because that's what our movement needs to do. Just like Michael Botticelli said when he was up here, movements don't just happen. You know, people need to get out there. They need to get involved. They need to get excited. And that's what Pat and Faces and Voices of Recovery have been doing over the years. My mentor, Steve Gumbley, who's here tonight, who was former board chair of Faces and Voices of Recovery, he's been a mentor to me in this process, but we were talking just last night, and we were talking about how we've learned from each other, and how when people connect in this recovery movement and they talk and they inspire each other, we can accomplish almost anything. And we've done so many things that we never thought were possible before. And, you know, I have to say, and just make this admission tonight, when I started this recovery journey 10 years ago, I didn't expect to be standing on a stage receiving an award or talking about my recovery at all. I kind of hoped the whole thing would go away. You know, I just wanted to get well. That's all I wanted. You know, I never realized that I was going to have to stand up and talk about my recovery every single day. And now, today, there's nothing I want to do more than talk about my recovery. Just like Kristen said, you know, when we get this opportunity to do this, it's special to us. It's therapeutic for us. It's so helpful in our own process to be able to do that. And so I really, really, really am grateful. And I have one other confession to make. A couple years ago, I was thinking of kind of moving away from this work, you know, moving away from recovery advocacy work, because I felt like I had given what I could give. You know, I had been on the RICARES board, I had done the National Field Director job with Faces and Voices of Recovery, and maybe it was time, you know, to let somebody else get involved, somebody else to do this work. Well, you know what? There is nobody else. There's only us. We have to do this work, each and every one of us. We have to inspire each other to go out there and do this work, just like Greg Williams with the film The Anonymous People has done to so many people across this country who have seen these sneak previews. You know, it's amazing. The recovery community is becoming electrified, and I'm becoming re-inspired as a result of the young people in recovery like Greg, people in the recovery high schools, and the movement that Devin Fox and Ben Chin and everyone else is leading out there. So I want to just say to you tonight that I am inspired by that, but I'm also angry. You know, I'm also angry, just like Kristen is, about the things that aren't being done, because people die from this disease, and we know that they don't need to. You know? And the people who don't die, they're still suffering. And the people who are suffering, they're suffering in prisons, they're suffering in our healthcare system that doesn't know what to do with them. They're suffering for no reason at all. And so we really have to redouble our efforts. As a recovery community, we have to get angry. We have to get angry about the people who have died, and we have to get angry so more people won't die, because that's our job. So thank you very much. Oh, yeah, sure. If you want.
Very nice, Tom. Beautiful. So our next Vernon Johnson awardee is Andre Johnson. Andre has served as the CEO of the Detroit Recovery Project since its founding in 2005. He's inspirational and he's motivating to young people, policymakers, and to the public, helping Detroiters who were once on the streets become drug-free and productive citizens. He's also working internationally, and I'm pleased to also present him with the America International Health Alliance's Twinning Centers Partner in Health Award for his work in Tanzania and in Zanzibar. So, Andre, if you could come on up and say a few words.
Wow. Amazing. amazing. Good evening. I would like to thank Faces and Voices of Recovery for recognizing and acknowledging the work that I'm doing in the corner of my universe in the city of Detroit. And I certainly want to thank the board members of Faces and Voices, my colleagues, and Ms. Pat Taylor and Jerry and Jill and Tom for your leadership, because this organization has grown tremendously. I'm a little nervous, surprisingly. I accept this award as a tribute to all the wonderful men and women who've witnessed my transition from a little boy who lacked direction and abused his body for many years to a man who has discovered his path and who understands the responsibility that comes with it. This recovery path has led me from addiction to college, graduating college, pursuing a doctoral degree, to being a CEO of a nonprofit in Detroit, and to be able to be a father to my daughter. And that's all through the relentless recovery process. It would be selfish of me not to acknowledge people who've been of great inspiration in my life for many, many years. And that's Dr. Calvin Trent, who's been a fantastic mentor, a great advocate in the city of Detroit for the city government, and encouraging me to develop as a recovery leader in our community. I wouldn't have never thought of this almost 25 years ago, and I want to thank you, Dr. Trent, and thank all the other folks that joined us this evening from Detroit. I want to act up a little bit and say something like, Detroit! And y'all supposed to say, basketball! But I'm really, really grateful for all the folks that traveled in from Detroit, Clark Associate staff, and our board president, Mr. Henry Williams, who's been with our organization since the inception. In Tanzania, there's a city called Bagamoyo. And in that city, this city was an area where the slaves were kept before they were traded or transferred to another part of the country, almost like a slave transshipment area. And so it's interesting, the town is named Bagamoyo, and I had the opportunity to visit that town last month while I was attending the first East Africa NA conference. And I was concerned about what did Bagamoyo means. And the word Bagamoyo, it means to throw your heart into it. And I said, wow, it's so deep, because that's what we do in recovery. We throw our heart into recovery once we embrace recovery. And for people who work in this field, we understand completely how to throw our heart into something. And so my job is to continue to throw my heart into what I do. And I get it on a regular basis, whether I see Tom Coderre or whether I get a charming call from Pat Taylor. But it's all about us to continue to throw our hearts into this. And that's what keeps my fire burning. I'm grateful to God for giving me hope and the promise of better days that I freely pass on to others. I am a living witness that agony and pain will go away and you can find joy and ease in your heart. For more than 20 million Americans in recovery, the fire still burns. We have all lost family members, friends, loved ones, to the abuses of addiction. Yet we burn to melt away those failings to reveal the pure metal that is strong enough to change the world. Together we shall stoke that fire that'll refine and reshape the recovery community around the globe. The world is waiting for us. This is our time. I hope I never lose my connection to you all. Thank you 1,000 times.
Congratulations. Take a picture.
Thank you, Emmy.
Very nice. So our next Vernon Johnson awardee is Scott Strode. Did I pronounce that right? We're great friends, and I don't know how to say his name. Scott created Phoenix Multisport in 2007 based on his personal recovery experience of building a healthy support system through exercise and physical activity. He has dedicated his life to helping others find recovery through sport, and I especially love his approach to what he's doing. I think it's innovative. It's outside the box thinking, and I personally know it speak to a lot of people that could benefit from it. So, Scott, please come on up and share some of your words of wisdom. Congratulations. We honor you tonight. Oh, we just love it.
I'll try not to step backwards on their toes. I've had an opportunity to speak a little bit about my recovery and about the story of Phoenix Multisport over the last year. And honestly, this is a crowd this is one of the most meaningful groups that I've talked to. Because I don't have to stand up here and tell you what it's like to be in the darkness of your addiction, because you've either experienced it or you've seen your loved ones go through it, or else you probably wouldn't be in this room. The Vernon Johnson, I was reading a little bit about him, and that part of the idea that you don't have to hit bottom before you make a change or before you get help. And honestly, when Phoenix started about 6 years ago, it was a fledgling organization. We were getting people into athletics, not just for a positive coping mechanism, but a new peer group and to shift self-esteem. When you climb a mountain, you see something in your heart that you don't see from down here. And the more you go up there, you build friendships with the people you're climbing with, and eventually you realize that you don't even need to go climb a mountain anymore to love yourself or to believe in yourself. And that's what Phoenix is about. But early on, I was nervous, honestly. I mean, I was in the rooms before I started Phoenix, and I kept thinking everybody's going to say easier, softer way, or something like that. Oh, you can't just get sober by climbing mountains, But the truth is, we're about everything. It's a holistic approach. It's whatever you need. Whatever gets you there is what gets you there. If it's your family and the love of your church, or your fellowship and your 12-step and your home group, and Phoenix, if it's riding motorcycles, if it's knitting sweaters, I'm an extra large or double XL. But it's all of those things coming together that build your support network. And that network, we're just another arrow in the quiver. That's what Phoenix is. And I saw, after I was about 8 years sober, I saw a lot of my friends getting out of formal treatment and literally a pat on the back and a list of 12-step meetings, and they were out the door. And they're like, what do I do Saturday? What do I do Sunday? What do I do over the summer? What do I do with all those hours I'm not trying to get high? And I thought my experience was different. And it was because somebody brought me into a boxing gym, and they believed in me, and they encouraged me to try something that is really a pretty scary sport, right? And they got me in the ring for the first time. And the more I did that, the more I believed I could try a triathlon, I could climb a mountain. And every time that happened, I started to believe in myself more and more. And then when I was shocked by the realities of life, right? We all go through it. After 16 years clean and sober, it's not like life gets easier, you just still have the realities of life. But I don't have to pick up a drink now because I believe in myself, and I have people that believe in me. And it's that belief, it's that recovery capital, right? Some of us have heard the term. I have all that stuff supporting me and shored up underneath me. But that idea that your bottom, you have to hit bottom before you can make a difference, it really makes me think of the allegory of Plato's cave. And a lot of you have probably heard it and read it, but this idea that these people are shackled and they're looking at a wall, and the only thing they see on that wall is the shadows from a fire that's behind them. And to tell those people that they have to hit bottom, or they have to believe in something bigger, or they have to want it, they don't even know what it is, right? When I was in my addiction, it was the darkest time of my life. I had no idea what it was, what I wanted, or what the ideal of life, or what am I supposed to be, or who can I be, what is my potential. None of those things existed in my world. And honestly, organizations like Faces and Voices give that to people. We meet people, we hear about somebody like Vernon Johnson, and we hear about anybody in this room. Peter Garmond here I met him, and he just inspires me. He's an inspiring man. We walked together on the Rally for Recovery in Colorado, and just meeting somebody who's got 20 plus years, who's just telling young people who are coming in, hey, there's a better life out there. There's hope. There's something on the other side of this. I think if we can tell people that before they hit bottom, we can help walk up out of that cave with them into the sunlight, right? Because that's where we get to stand now in recovery, is up in the sunlight. It's a beautiful thing. And, like the Phoenix, first of all, I got to wave to the little webcam because there's a lot of people in Colorado watching this. So what's up, Phoenix? But like the Phoenix, we can all rise from the ashes. And having you guys have love and compassion for me helps me have love and compassion for myself. And that allows me to give that to other people. So thank you guys.
Congratulations, Scott, and to all of our award recipients. Mary, thank you so much for that. And now it is, whoops, I think I just missed something. Let me just look at my notes. Got it. Thank you. And now, as Kristen helpfully reminded me, it is time for the Joel Hernandez Award. I send you greetings from Denise Juvera, Stephanie Gomez, and the other members of the Joel Hernandez family. They're not able to be here this year, but they want you to know that they're really grateful to the tribute to their father and the battle that he had with alcoholism. Joel tremendously enjoyed the platform of speaking to recovery groups, and his family wants you to know that his recovery outweighed the dark struggles that the family experienced. His family wants you to know that they believe that hope is attainable, and we all know how important hope is. It gives me great pleasure to introduce John Kelly, who will be giving the Joel Hernandez Award. He's an associate professor in psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, and he's the founder and director of the Recovery Research Institute at the Massachusetts General Hospital, where he is also the program director of the Addiction Recovery Management Service. Whew, it's a lot of great stuff you're doing. John, welcome.
Thank you, and good evening. I'm delighted to be here. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Pat, Faces and Voices, for the invitation. I just flew in from Orlando today. I wasn't at Disney World, but I was actually at a conference there, the Research Society on Alcoholism. But thankfully, I was able to cut that short and come up here. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'll just tell you this quick story because it's kind of funny and it relates to tonight's proceeding. I got off the plane at the airport and I got in a cab to come to the hotel. So I was in the cab and we're going along. I was in the back seat and the cabbie's going along and up ahead I could see the traffic light and the traffic light turns from green to red. We had about 100 yards to go. So instead of slowing down, this guy accelerates, right? So he accelerates, goes straight through the red light. I'm like holding onto my seat, right? So I thought, okay, all right. Now, I've been in D.C. many times, and sometimes you get some crazy cab drivers. Anyway, so we're going along the next traffic light. I see it up ahead. Turns from green to red. It's about 150 yards to go, right? And bang, accelerates again, goes straight through the red light. So I said, excuse me. Just knock on the glass. I said, excuse me. I said, you just went through 2 red lights. And he said, no, don't worry. He said, my brother lives in this town. He goes through red lights all the time. He said, he never stops at a red light, no matter when, no matter what time of the year it is. No, he never, ever stops at a red light. It's going to be okay. So I say, okay, all right, I'm convinced. So anyway, so we're going along, and there's a red light up ahead. So, and it turns green. There's about 100 yards to go. So he slams on the brakes, right? So we come to a screeching stop at the green light. So I says to him, I said, what are you doing? I said, there's a green light. He said, oh, no, you've got to be careful. He said, my brother could be coming in the other direction. So... That's not a true story, but it's based on a true story. It's based on a true story. But I just want to say that, in what we're doing tonight, we talk about green lights and red lights and the road to recovery. It's Faces and Voices and the organizations and the awardees tonight that are turning those red lights to green lights for people who are seeking and in recovery. And I think that's what you're doing. So I am very honored and privileged to be here tonight with you all. And I'm going to get to the business end of what I'm going to say. Congratulations to a new path in becoming the 6th recipient of the Joel Hernandez Award. The Hernandez family pays homage to an organization that strives to work with those returning to society as we all do. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Gretchen Burns-Bergman, who will be accepting the award on behalf of A New Path, which stands for Parents for Addiction Treatment and Healing. I know that there are a number of people who have traveled here to be with Gretchen tonight. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. Thank you. We salute A New Path and its many partners working to seek therapeutic justice for people with alcohol and drug problems as they advocate for better understanding and moving to build a healthier society. Gretchen?
I decided to take the long way around, not just because I was terrified of that first step, but I thought I'd prolong this wonderful moment, so thank you. This is a tremendous honor. We thank you so much. And I did a little bit of reading, and I guess I've been mispronouncing his name, but Joel Hernandez was quite a pioneer, and so that makes this all the more wonderful. Really appreciate this honor. We're honored to be recognized by Faces and Voices of Recovery, and thank you for helping to bring national attention focus to the work that we're doing with The New Path. I have to say that I'm also very proud to be honored tonight is awesome. All the speeches were so incredible, and I'm so proud to be honored along with all the other honorees tonight, including my friend Tom Coderre. And Tom, I get angry too. A little anger is a good thing, but congratulations to you guys. I obviously have to share this award with many people, and thank you for John for recognizing them, but I want to recognize them in person, each and every one of them, because this is really an award that I share with so many people. First and foremost, probably, is Caroline Stewart, who's the president of the board of A New Path. She's given great leadership and commitment to the cause. And Julia Negron, sitting right next to her, who was the first director of A New Path LA. Path started in San Diego. And she's on our national steering committee of Moms United and the War on Drugs, now representing Florida. And John Whitaker is our director of A New Path Los Angeles. You might recognize this character. He was a child actor. Karen Garrison, I think, is in the room. She's one of our Moms United representatives from Washington, D.C. My husband, David Bergman, who has given such loving support to this crazy crusader for so many years. And he's also given some really sage advice. He's on our advisory board of A New Path. And his family is here tonight. His nephew, Craig Zucker, Representative Craig Zucker from Maryland. His sister, Laura and Jay Zucker. And most important, my son Elon is here. And it was his experience, not only with his disease of addiction, but also with his incarceration, that started the passion that started A New Path, that fueled the passion that started A New Path. I'm very proud of his long-term recovery. I'm proud of the work that he does as an alcohol and drug counselor. And I'm mostly proud of the person that he is. He's a beautiful person. And I have two sons, so this is a call out to my other son, who still struggles with the mighty waves of addictive illness. But because of the amazing recovery in this room and all across America and indeed across the world, and because of the recovery of my older son, it really gives me the hope to know that he can find his way out of the abyss and into recovery. And I want to thank both of my sons for allowing me to tell their stories so that other people can benefit. And I think we're all making the world a better place. It was a serenity prayer, and I love the serenity prayer, that really helped me with this work. First, it helped me to have the serenity to accept the fact of my son's illness. But it also, that second part, to have the courage to change the things that I knew needed to be changed about the way our society perceives the disease of addiction and the way we handle it or mishandle it and what needs to be changed. And hopefully to have the wisdom to understand, the rest of that. Over the past 14 years, I feel that together with organizations like Faces and Voices of Recovery and all the rest of you that are working on this issue, we're making a difference. We are dispelling stigma, shame, blame, discrimination. We're opening the door to restorative, therapeutic, health-oriented solutions that reduce the harm and to keep people alive for the cure, if you will, so that they can find a way to leading fulfilling and meaningful lives. People now have a greater understanding that addiction is a chronic, relapsing disorder that belongs squarely in the public health arena and not in the criminal justice system. And the polls indicate that people are ready for real drug policy reform, that the war on drugs is really a war waged against families and communities, that we must stop criminalizing people who use drugs or who are addicted to drugs. And we must advocate for therapeutic restorative policies. This recognition then must be shared with everyone who has shared their faces, their voices, their stories in order to end the stigma and discrimination. It's shared with mothers and others who are part of our campaign to end the violence, mass incarceration, and accidental overdose deaths that are a part of our current punitive prohibitionist policies. I'm proud to accept this honor on behalf of a compassionate community, you all, of advocates working together to restore basic human rights for the sake of our children and future generations. So I applaud you all. Thank you.
Right about incarceration. We can't incarcerate our way out of it. It takes two people. My muscles are flexing. Take your time. Gretchen, congratulations, and congratulations to everyone at A New Path. Our next presenter is Pam Hyde, who will be giving the Lisa Mojer-Torres Award. This award honors a tenacious fighter who believed in the dignity and the rights of every person suffering from this disease. Lisa was a passionate recovery communicator. Pam Hyde has served as the administrator of the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or as it is usually called, SAMHSA, since 2009. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, all the people from Faces and Voices of Recovery, and thank you to my colleagues, Michael and David, and all the work that they do. And Kristen, I am really pleased to see you and meet you. I hope someday to be as pretty as you are. And I want to just acknowledge all the SAMHSA employees. I've saw a couple of them as I came in, but I know that there are SAMHSA employees here tonight and other federal employees that are here supporting this effort and supporting each and every one of you. And it gives me honor to think about, as a government employee, to honor and to introduce to you another government employee that is going to get this award tonight. Let me just say that being in government, there are highs and lows. And there are days, and then there are days. And there are days like this one, as Michael said, when you see a Supreme Court decision and you have a little bit of information about what all went behind getting there, and you just can celebrate that actually something right happened. And then you have the same day when, right before I came here, I talked to a colleague of ours in SAMHSA whose nephew died by suicide. And you have those kind of highs and lows, and so government is hard. So Arthur, who I have the joy of introducing, because Arthur and I have known each other for a very long time. I was trying to think, Arthur, 13 years, 15 years, something like that, back when he was in Connecticut. Watched him over the years and really been able to see what he's been able to accomplish. So I'm proud of him and proud of another government employee. So Arthur Evans is the Commissioner of Philadelphia's Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. It's a $1 billion healthcare agency. He's nationally recognized as a leader in implementing a recovery-oriented policy framework, and that is not necessarily easy. In a context that either has people telling you that really if people have substance abuse issues, they really shouldn't even get public benefits, or they shouldn't get another choice or chance. So to champion that in a government role is no small task. He's been addressing healthcare disparities and increasing the use of evidence-based practices. He's been working on a number of things. He is a professor in a number of universities and has been over the years. He's served as chair of Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's Partners for Recovery Initiative Steering Committee. He's been on our CSAT, we call it, our Center for Substance Abuse Treatment Advisory Committee. He's highly committed to serving people who are underserved and ensuring that all people have access to effective and quality services. And most of all, I think Arthur epitomizes someone in government who believes in people and believes, frankly, that we can do better. So it's my great pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague, Arthur Evans. Wrong one. They have to take a picture of us.
Thank you, Pam. And yeah, I think it has been about 15 years, and I've watched Pam's career as well as she's ascended to the highest behavioral health position in the country. And so I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate especially the kind words that you said. I can't even express how much this award means to me. I think on two levels. One is that Lisa was tremendous, for those of you who didn't know her, a tremendous champion, a tremendous advocate, a tremendous fighter for people who are in methadone, but for people who are struggling with addiction. And she did that in a space that most people don't want to go, and she did that in a space where most people would retreat. I had a chance to talk to Bill White before I came here, and Bill said that when they were collaborating on the recovery-oriented methadone maintenance monograph, she was really, really sick. And she would work on the monograph. They would have conference calls. She would take a break. She would come back. We kept working on that. And I think it's a great testament to who she was and to the legacy that she's left for the field. And so on that account alone, I'm very, very honored to receive an award in her name. But I'm also very honored because I'm not a person in recovery. And this is the recovery community. That's right, Kristen, I am not in recovery, except from state government, which is a real struggle. We don't have much of a support group. People don't, the stigma, But I'm not a person in recovery, and to be given this recognition is very, very special to me as someone who has been in the fight for at least 2 decades now. I am smart enough to know that people don't get these kinds of awards based on what they do. People are, and I recognize that I'm being recognized for the work of many, many people. And so I want to spend my time just thanking people who have been really influential to me in my career, who've made the change happen in both Connecticut and in Philadelphia, and who inspire me every day to keep pushing and working. The first is Esther Aman, who gave me my first job in Connecticut, where I was the clinical director for a detox that didn't even exist. And she and I worked together to create that. We didn't even have a building at the time. And so I learned a tremendous amount from her, from the people who came into detox seeking care. For Tom Kirk, who I was his deputy commissioner in Connecticut. Tom, I think the field has not recognized the tremendous contribution that Tom has made to the field. He was the first commissioner in the country to say that we're going to create a recovery-oriented system of care. Now, everyone uses that terminology and everyone is doing that, but he was the first commissioner before there was a New Freedom Commission report, before there were all the reports that said this is something we have to do. And so I'm very grateful to Tom for his leadership and for his example. My colleagues both at Demas and at Yale, and at CCAR. And I know Danielle Santos is here, and I think she has a colleague from CCAR, which is one of the premier recovery organizations in the country. And I'm so proud of the work that they've done and what I've learned from people there. But I'm in Philadelphia now, and I have a new set of colleagues. And I know Roland Lamb is here, and I'm not sure if anyone else came down from Philadelphia, but I'm very appreciative to Roland, especially as the director of our Office of Addiction Services, who is a real pioneer in his own right, and I know has been honored by many folks, including yourselves. We have, again, in the tipping point, not the tipping point, the outliers. Malcolm Gladwell says that one of the reasons that people like Steve Jobs and those folks were able to do the things that they did was because they were born at the exact right time. If they had been born 5 years earlier or 5 years later, they wouldn't have been in the right position. And I've been in the good fortune to be in the right place at the right time. And so I want to also thank people in Philadelphia who have made transformation happen and have made it real, and PROACT at the top of the list. As Pam said, changing government, changing systems, changing institutions is really, really hard. The reason that it's happened in Philadelphia is because we have a recovery community that is literally on fire. And they are pushing, they are inspiring, and it's making all the difference in the world. So people like me who are in government, I can just sit back and say, it's not me, it's, it's what the people want. And so I am especially grateful to Bev Haberly and Fred Martin and a number of other people in PROACT. I also want to thank Bill White, who has been a tremendous collaborator, and everyone in this room knows who Bill is and the contribution that he's made to the field, and just his intellect, what he's given to our field, and his ability to articulate what we know is the right thing. But Bill can put it in language that allows us to grab it and to move forward. And so I'm very indebted to Bill's work and to his collaboration. And I also want to thank my family. My wife is here, Claudine. She She keeps reminding me that her role in life is to keep me humble. And I got to tell you, she does a real good job of that. So I can get all these fancy awards that I want. When I get home, I still got to take out the garbage. So she's actually very good at that. Yeah, sure enough, right? I know it's waiting for me when I get home. And my daughters, when you do these kind of jobs, and I was both in the clinical world and now in government, you have 24-hour jobs. And, all the times that I've had the pager go off at 12 o'clock at night, and, we're in the mall, and I'm on the phone, and all of those things, or on vacation, I'm on the phone. They've tolerated that. They've gone to all the recovery walks that we've had. They have just been a tremendous support, so I appreciate my girls, who I hope are watching, if they're not, watch the video, and my wife, Claudine. So let me just end by saying a couple of things. One is that, again, I'm so grateful to Faces and Voices, and, there's not, I get to come to Washington. I don't know if it's get to come. I do come to Washington quite often. And there's not a real important meeting that is happening, I think, in this city where Pat Taylor isn't there, making sure the voice of people in recovery. And I think she just deserves a great round of applause for so they love you like I do, Pat. And so I'm just so grateful on that account. But here's the thing. I think that we are at this incredible time in our field. And I don't know if you can feel it, but I feel that we're at this precipice, that something is going to change in some miraculous ways. And that's already started to happen. You see it all over the country, and I get a chance to talk to people in different parts of the country and travel in different parts of the country, and it's there, it's tangible. And I think we're so close, and we cannot give up on making systems work for people, because they won't. Systems will do what they always do. And my role, I think that my role is to try to change that. But we need so many people pushing to make sure that all of the laws and policies that don't make any sense, that get in the way of people having a true chance for recovery, that those kinds of things get eliminated. One of the things that keeps me going is when I go to graduations. And as Pam said, when you're in these jobs, it can be a grind. But I always like to go to graduations. And there's a point that I say I'm not going to do it, but there's a point where I always get choked up at a graduation. And it's when I look in the audience and I see kids. And I think about parents. And I think about how those kids know that now they're going to have a daddy or a mommy. I get choked up when I see spouses who are now going to have a wife or a husband. That's what keeps me going in this work. And so what I will leave you with is that we can't stop. We have to continue to push. We have governors that don't want to expand Medicaid, which I don't understand. But we have to keep pushing, and I really hope that we stay inspired, that we remember those family members, we remember those kids, we remember those spouses, and most of all, remember those people who are struggling with addiction, because that's why we do what we do. So thank you very much. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Faces and Voices.
Don't forget your award.
I won't.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. A very special thank you to our host, Lori Dew. Lori, thank you. Now, this is a very special evening, and we look forward to working with you to advocate for recovery over the course of the next year and into the future. So thank you so much for joining us, and look forward to working with you. And we will be having a book signing in the lobby where you came in. Thank you very much, Kristen. And thank you so much to all of our honorees. We really appreciate the opportunity to thank you for all the incredible work that you do. Have a lovely evening.